Hello, folks. My name is Raymond Nugent, aka Chronic Pain in a Demon. Welcome back to another video. Now, folks, we're going to hear from the accused killer in the New York subway shooting, Frank James. We're going to hear from Frank James from one of his YouTube page and what he think of the world and the USA today. Take a listen.
Do another video, and I'm gonna title this video "Depending on the kindness of others." Depending on the kindness of others. Now, what do I mean by that? Depending on the kindness of others. Well, as black people, that's what we've been doing since we were so-called emancipated, because we weren't able to really, how you say it, I would say, do for ourselves for real, as far as provide all that we needed to live and survive. We had to depend on white people, and to get us to a place where we could, I guess, just survive and live, whatever the case may be, which really was the goal, I believe, to keep us dependent on them, so that we could continue to be a choice of a source of extremely cheap labor, which we finally were. And it's weird, because I was watching a clip from the old TV series The Soprano, and Tony Soprano was in his psychologist's office, and he was describing to her the reasoning behind the United States opening up the floodgates to the immigration that took place back in the 1880s. You hear about the when they had this big, huge influx of immigrants from Europe during the 1880s, when the Statue of Liberty was built, and Ellis Island and all of that. And he said that he was saying that the reason that the United States allowed all of these Italians and others to come to other Europeans come to this country is just as a cheap source of labor, and to help to
Apparently, this man knows some history, folks. Apparently, this man has been doing some reading. He knows some history, but that doesn't mean that I go along with his belief or support anything that he have done. I condemned his actions in the subways, but I guess eventually, days to come, we'll understand more. And that's why I'm bringing forth this video again, for some of us who don't understand. Frankie, J88, the man who caused so many harm on the subway this week in Brooklyn. Frank James, a man in his 60s with a YouTube channel and his own opinion and agenda. You're entitled to your opinion, all of us, but that doesn't mean you're going to exercise physical actions because you don't see what happens to suit you and your needs and your opinion.
Continue to the project of building this nation for the super elites, and he named all the Carnegies. He named all of the super rich people that had wealth, that benefited from this new source of cheap labor, being the Italians, Irish, and all the rest of these other people who came in and displaced the black workers that were here before them. And so, depending on the kindness of others, we have been we've always been dependent on white people to provide a source of income and a source of sustenance for us to be able to survive. And we've never had to. We never thought of doing that for ourselves. And the problem with that is, with the way we've been living and how we positioned ourselves, not just in this society, but in this world, today and into tomorrow,
online
is that
store.
If the day will come when we can no longer depend on white people for what we need to live, what happens to us then? And that's the question I've been asking for the very longest time. And it's because people seem like they need you, or seem like they like you, or seem like they're willing to continue to provide means by which you can support yourself, doesn't mean that's always going to be the case. And it's something that I don't believe we talk about enough and we think about enough in terms of our lives, because a lot of us labor under the misconception that America is here to stay and is always going to be here. And that's not the case. It wasn't the case in the past for all the other superpowers that existed. The Romans, the Greeks, the Phoenicians, the Egyptians, yes, the big bad,
the British,
Egyptians. Where the fuck are they? They don't exist anymore. You see what they built. You see all these.
You're going back in biblical times, my friends.
Super intelligence, but
evolution
did nothing for the fact that
is a thing.
They were like all of the civilizations. They rose and they fucking fell. They came into existence. They had a time to be it, and they fucking left out, and they're gone. And this thing is going to be
Why were they gone, my friend? If you know your history,
for this thing,
the Greeks
when it breaks down,
came in.
I'm seeing it in my mind's eye.
Remember that.
It's not going to be a pretty fucking picture. It's going to be pretty much a bloody mess. And the people that are in power are not going to be able to control what happens once this motherfucker, the wheels start to come off this bitch. Once the U.S. dollar goes to the toilet,
which is not going to happen,
begin to get drawn down to the point where gasoline gets so fucking expensive that you won't be able to, it'll be there, but again, it'll be so expensive that you won't be able to afford it, or you'll be able to afford very little of it to be able to do the things.
Which is not going to happen.
You see, and so
electric vehicles are taking over.
You're going to see people start to panic. People start to lose their fucking minds and just go on killing and shooting rampages and all kinds of shit.
Did you hear that, folks?
That's just
Did you hear that, folks?
Beginning.
Did you catch that? Did you catch what he just said? Let me repeat it.
You see, and so you're going to see a lot of cars and shit being abandoned. You're going to see people start to panic. People start to lose their fucking minds and just go on killing and shooting rampages and all kinds of shit.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what he said? People are going to start losing their minds, going and killing and rampage and all that type of stuff. So this man was talking about himself and what he had in his mind already planned to do. Let you hear it again.
Be there, but again, it'll be so expensive that you won't be able to afford it, or you'll be able to afford very little of it to be able to do the things you need to do. You see, and so you're going to see a lot of cars and shit being abandoned. You're going to see people start to panic. People start to lose their fucking minds and just go on killing and shooting rampages and all kinds of shit's going to take place. That's just in the in the beginning of the shit. And so we're doing, and not really, we suffer again, as they said, the United States suffer from a lack of imagination because of what happened on the morning of 9/11. The people in power at that time couldn't see this coming, couldn't imagine that people could take planes and crash them into buildings, even though we know that's not the case. But I still like that, I still like that phrase, that phrase, suffer from a lack of imagination, because that's what so-called black people suffer from, a serious lack of imagination, or caring to fucking imagine anything except what goes on in their fucking day-to-day head. And there's a price to pay for not, being able to think, be that forward-thinking, and try to imagine that this nation will one day cease to fucking exist as we know it. and something else will take its place, and who knows what your position will be in that new thing.
Whew. This is a lot to digest, folks, to even talk about. We have a lot of conspiracy theorists in this world. Some of the conspiracy theorists, you see them at their best. But I don't remember ever seeing them lash out like this, where they execute actions in violence upon innocent people. Never can I remember seeing that.
When the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and all that shit disappears and evaporates, which means all your rights fucking evaporate. We don't know what's going to be next, and so we're kind of at the mercy of those that we now depend on their kindness, to keep us fucking alive and to provide a source of income and everything else that we need to fucking live. And so,
Then if that's the case, then my friend, then what's going to happen to the economy? The big bad U.S. economy. What's going to happen to it? Is it going to fold? Like you said, the dollar is going to come down to nothing, which I highly doubt that. But you have your beliefs, and you're entitled to your opinion on your beliefs. But at the same time, it doesn't give you the right to go out and be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Doesn't give you the right. You're entitled to your opinions, your research, all the type of stuff. You're entitled. But that doesn't give you the right to go out and act on them, especially act in the way how you act, which was the act of evil. So, Mr. Frank James, for a man of your intelligence, for a man of your age, what you did was very sad. My name is Raymond Nugent, aka Chronic Pain Unidemon. Like and share, folks. Peace.